Welcome to Allie's Attic, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Allie, and today my surprise is a singer-songwriter who, after a giant kick in the pants from his then 4-year-old son, decided to go back to what he loved, music. Thank goodness. Please welcome Peter Noreika. Hello, Peter.
Hello, Allie. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
That is good. So, okay, you started out as a singer-songwriter, well, as a guitarist, right?
Correct.
And you
Um,
played.
I go
Go,
ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was anticipating where you were going to go with that. Uh, yeah, I started out as a guitarist in rock bands and primarily really heavy metal bands from the time I was in high school uh, until I was done uh, playing professionally. I guess there was a time when I spent, I should say, working really hard towards bands. And as the years went by, the members of the bands kind of started peeling off. Whether it been for personal reasons, family, or they needed to get a better job. They had bills that were coming due, and the music wasn't cutting it. So the band kind of drifted apart and disappeared. And I tried revisiting that a number of times, but the same thing kept on happening, and age and responsibilities of life kind of kept taking over and putting the kibosh on it all.
Yeah, that's what happens.
So I'm not going to interrupt you this time. Go ahead.
No, I said that's what happens usually when, not all the time, but a lot of times when bands start out when they're young, everything kind of, like you said, family and all kinds of stuff happens.
Right, and it eventually happened to me too. And everything is great, and I love my family, and but I kind of stopped playing. I wasn't on a regular practice schedule. I would pick up my guitar once in a while, um, and my son, he knew that I liked to play, and he would come and sit and listen to me on the rare occasion that I did. And then it goes to the story that's in my bio. I was literally ironing clothes, and he didn't want me to go to work. He wanted me to stay home and play with him. And whether he just picked up on it from things I had said in the past or conversations he'd overheard, he said, I want you to stay home and play with me. So why don't you become a songwriter so that you can spend more time with me? And I said, that's a great idea. And it's stuck with me throughout that day and the following weeks. And I says, yeah, well, let's see what I can do. So I started talking to my friend Joe. Gave me some good advice on it. And I says, what's it going to take for me to do this? Not a whole lot. It's just a little time and effort. So that's what I started doing, and I started, adding more time to it as it's available. Time is still at a premium. Trying to squeak out a couple hours of writing or practicing. I have to make an effort to do that. It's not a built-in part of my day per se.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you did. And I'm glad that your 4-year-old son had enough wisdom to know that you should do what you love. Now, let's talk about Joe Goretti. He's the drummer from AGR Brothers, Robin, Neo, Moby, many others. The advice he gave you is advice that I think everybody should live by. And do you want to tell us what his advice was, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I'll be paraphrasing it. He's in essence, it was really, everyone wants to be a rock star. Everyone wants to make $1 million. Everyone wants to, but if you keep that as your motivation, again, at my time in life, how real is it? But as an artist, just write and just do things that make you happy. Even if that's the only reason you're doing it, because it means something to your own personal well-being. To spend time doing something I love to do just for the sake of doing it.
Yes.
So that's been my motivation. I just the songs that I don't sit down and say I'm going to write a song that sounds like a country song or I'm going to write a rock song. I, whatever flows is what it is. I don't have any preconceptions. I'm not trying to be alternative. I'm not trying to be folk. I just pick up my guitar and the music that comes out comes out. I tend to think it's somehow based in metal stylings that may or may not be true, but that's really where my previous lives in music lived. I was writing that kind of material.
Hmm.
So I think there's that influence probably shines through a little.
Yeah, it does. Now, he also told you do it with no expectation of fame and do it solo and be in charge of your own destiny. And I love both those sayings because I think you're right. People think that they're going to start singing, playing a guitar, writing songs, they're going to have instant fame. And it doesn't happen that way.
No, and in many cases, it never happens that way.
Yeah.
So it's really about, again, doing a thing that's simply for me. And if people end up enjoying it along the way, they're great. So I put the records out. Some people like it, some people don't. But I'm really focused on writing something that I think is cool, something that makes me happy.
Well, and that's why you should do it. Now, a three song, I can't talk. A 3-song EP came out, and I hope I say this right. Metacoustic. Did I say?
Acoustic folk.
Yes, I love that name, by the way, because it kind of encompasses everything that you do. Now, it was released to a lot of like great reviews, and people loved it. And then there was a 2016 follow-up, Throw the Switch to Begin, and it
Correct.
hit the ground running with even more metal-inspired acoustic folk rock, with stirring melodies and thought-provoking vocals. And in your bio, it says it has your vibe, and it is. You have this type of vibe in every single song that I've listened to of yours, and it's strictly you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, thank you.
and that's a great way. I mean, you want people to know when they hear a song that it's you, and you do that.
Indeed. Um, again, it's really, it was just, I don't want to pigeonhole myself. I don't want to, I think picking up on the musicians, the big famous people that I listen to since I was listening to music, I mean, that drives some kind of influence in me, that whether it's the rhythm or the beat or the melody, some of that plays on me, and there's certain things I like. I mean, to this day, the typical music that I listen to, if I'm going to put in a CD or I'm going to go on Spotify and listen, I'm listening to the heaviest of the heavy stuff.
Hmm.
I don't listen to music that's remotely anything like what I play.
Well, you can hear the influence of it though. Like you're talking about metal, you can hear it, especially in your voice. Especially in your voice. You could be a metal singer. Well, you are, but I mean, just strictly metal. Because, yeah, you've got that raspiness in your voice that makes the greatest lead singers for metal bands. So it makes sense that you listen to that. Now, you also now have a CD out, or I don't even know what to call them anymore. EP. We'll call it an EP because I don't even know if CDs
Yes.
exist. It's called Boxer Rocks. And it's a departure from the full band recording of your previous songs. You've stripped it down to the music and essentials of guitar and vocals with a singer-songwriter approach.
Yes. And that was very much by design. My friend Joe that I spoke of earlier, he played all the drum tracks on the first two EPs. And then I went back through and did all the different layerings of guitars and bass and keyboards myself. Unfortunately, or fortunately, if I perform anywhere, it's just me.
Mm-hmm.
It is me and a guitar. So I felt that the first two EPs are not a good example of what someone would hear if they went to see me.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to do this, singer-songwriter album strictly for that reason, to give people a flavor of what it is without all the bells and whistles and extra instruments.
Well, you did a very good job. I mean, your voice alone, like I said, I'm absolutely in love with your voice. If you haven't figured that out yet, I really, really,
Oh, thank
really,
you.
you're welcome.
I love hearing it.
Well, of course. Um, Now you talked about going and performing. So you're from, is it Akron, New York?
Akron, New York. Yes,
Akron.
it
Okay.
is a like a second tier suburb of Buffalo, New
And
York.
and how is the music scene there, or do you have to go to Buffalo a lot of times?
Yes, there's really not much. There was a coffee house in town, and it's since closed. So there literally is nothing. It is very rural um, America. You know, it's farmland and one little village and a lot of space in between.
Ah, I hear ya. I grew up in a town like that. Um, so you perform, like, do you perform a lot in Buffalo?
I haven't recently, and currently I'm actually working on material for my next EP, which is hopefully going to be out in the spring. So I'm trying to gear everything up around that. So I don't have any performances until yeah, I'm hoping April is where we're going to be.
Okay. And well, and when your new EP comes out, you can either come back on the show or send me some singles and I'll throw them up on my website and help promote them. Now
Awesome.
because you started off doing this and then, like you said, life happened and then you came back to it thanks to your 4-year-old son. Um, if you had any advice, Peter, to give a new artist that was just starting out, because you've got great advice from like friends and former bandmates and your drummer, what kind of advice would you give them?
You know, it's always a tough question. I think everybody's advice is different for what they're really looking to do. And I'll echo what Joe said. Just don't try to be a thing that you've heard on the radio or that you've heard on Spotify. You need to be you. What you heard, someone else is already doing it. They're already famous for it. They're already getting the accolades for it. If you're trying to mimic that, you're not going to go. You have to be unique. You have to be yourself. And I think the only way to be yourself is to just let it flow. Play from the gut, play from the heart, and don't aim for a particular genre.
That's great advice, and I completely agree. I don't like when well, I can't say I don't like. It's just I think it's you get more freedom if you don't pigeonhole yourself. You've used the word as well into one genre. I think that's great advice. Okay, so let's talk about the two songs we're going to hear. You sent me three. I got to pick two. So tell me about the two that I picked.
Let's see, what makes you smile? Um, this is more homage to my son. You know, he's a kitty cat and puppy kind of guy. And I've often said, you know, there's nothing. What's better than a box of puppies? My son would say, "What's better than a box of kittens?" So it's kind of this combination of that. And if you've ever sat and played with a box of puppies and kittens, there's no way that won't make you smile.
And it
Um,
does.
Go ahead.
No, I said, and it does. It makes you smile, the song.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, that's really what it is. That's really what that's about. It's the simple things in life. You know, it's um, things can happen, things go wrong. You got to keep trying. You know, what makes you smile? What makes you smile? What's going to bring you happiness? Like sitting there and playing with a box of puppies and kittens.
Hmm.
You know, and I had even said, you know, when I was first demoing the song, there was a couple. I'm like, people would say things along the lines of, "You're singing about puppies and kittens. You realize what you're talking about here?" And I says, "Yeah, who cares? I'm writing what I'm writing, and I don't care." But it has. It's been one of the favorites on this that I get a lot of compliments on.
Well, and not surprising. I love the song. Absolutely love it. And you can still hear the metal in it. I don't care if it's stripped down acoustic or you can still hear it. Now, what is the other song?
Swoop dibby dibby.
Now, explain that one.
Go ahead.
No, I said explain that one. I know what the song means to me, but I love your interpretation. Interpretation. I see I can't talk, Peter. I think I need more coffee. Go ahead.
Oh, it's really about. I mean, this is me. This is a song about very personal experiences with me and my wife when we were dating. We were just making up words, being silly, and over time, some of these things came to actually mean things. We had like this little secret language that we would say cookie little made up words to each other, and I mean that's really what this song is all about. Um, it's nothing more than talking to that. Uh, it doesn't matter. It's the emotion behind a given word or a sound. And I thought it just sounded cool to. I wanted to sing a song and to use words and phrases that had no meaning to anyone but myself. So this is a very personal kind of take on my life.
Well, and it's very cool. And I think a lot of couples have little words that they use that don't make any sense to anybody else but themselves. And shwoop dooby dooby. When I first heard the title, I'm going to tell you, I was thinking, is this going to be like, the soda pop rock of like the 60s or the, late 50s? And then I heard it and I'm like, no, not at all. But it made a lot of sense to me. And I think it'll make a lot of sense to a lot of people. But hearing your interpretation is fantastic because, yeah, I think it's cool when couples are together and they love each other and they do get silly and they do make up words.
Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing more to it than that. How those words came about, um, condensed down into a 3 minute song. Um, fun stuff. Again, more stuff. It makes me smile just to think about it.
Well, and that is what it's all about. You have to smile when you're making music. And I'm sure your wife appreciates it too, because it is kind of homage to her. So you've got homage to your son with what makes you smile, and then your wife with Shroop Dibby Dibby. So that is very cool. So you can buy your music online as well as your website, and your website is peternoreika.com. It's going to be up on my website. People just have to click on it, and it'll take them directly to your website to find out all kinds of fun and interesting facts. But and listen to more of your music because you've got great songs. I mean, I absolutely love. I'm serious. Just your talking voice, Peter. Like, wow, I'm in love with it.
Oh,
Dead serious.
well, I'm blushing here. Again, everyone loves to hear someone say good stuff about them, and fortunately or unfortunately, most people, um, I have a tough time. To me, it's strangers and people out the street who are more apt to say something about my music. Like, for instance, my family, they kind of keep quiet about what's going on. So I don't know what to think about it. Um, but thank you. I love hearing it, and I appreciate hearing it from you.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people, and I'm sure your family appreciates it too, but I think you have to walk kind of on tippy toes when somebody that you are family with is doing something like this because you don't want to say the wrong thing. So maybe that's why they're quiet because they don't want you to take it the wrong way. But who knows?
I suspect you're right.
Yeah. Now, what like your new EP is coming out, you're hoping in the spring. So hopefully you'll come back and you'll share that with us. And I wish you all the success in the world. I'm so glad that you came on, and I even got to just listen to you talk. Never mind sing. And don't be a stranger. You have me on Twitter. Anything new happens, Peter, let me know. And you're more than welcome to come back. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come on my show.
Oh, it was awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I love chatting with you, and I hope to do it again soon when the new EP comes out.
Awesome. That would be great. And thank you for joining me on Allie's Attic. Keep checking my website because you never know what kind of surprises you'll find in my attic. Cheers.